Welcome to another Midnight Review presented by Glasshouse Films. I'm Carson, sans beard. This is Nick, being Nick. And we're watching The Dark Tower this week.
Yay!
Yeah, yay! Like, I don't know if there's a movie I've been less enthusiastic about this year. Well, until the trailer for Death Wish dropped today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Up until that point, this has been the film I've been least anticipating.
But the good thing is, like, low expectations. Only place to go is up? I don't know. There's been times, though, where
They
like,
just dig.
I expected nothing, and I'm still let down.
Yeah. So, I don't know how you could not know about The Dark Tower, but for those of you that don't know about The Dark Tower, it is Stephen King's, like, magnum opus of magnum opuses.
Yeah, it's a good, like, 30... No, it's like 20 years of books. I think he started in 82 and finished in, like, the early 2000s.
Yeah. I mean, it's, what, 8 books?
Yeah.
Each Stephen King size.
And they get longer and longer and longer.
Yeah, the first one's like
Harry
a
Potter
manifesto.
style.
Yeah. and they end as like 2 Bibles like glued back to back.
Yeah. But we're getting all that in the 98, tight 98.
Yeah.
A tight 98.
Yeah. At least it won't be long.
At least it won't be long.
So the story of The Dark Tower, basically, we're going as basic as possible with this because I don't feel like trying to condense that.
Yeah.
Is Roland Duchesne?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, Roland, the gunslinger in this movie played by Idris Elba, is trying to hunt down the man in black played by Matthew McConaughey. And Matthew McConaughey is supposed to be worse than the devil, and he's gonna try and destroy the Dark Tower.
Yeah, and the Dark Tower is like
the Dark Tower,
the glue convergence point of like all these universes.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to put it.
The story gets so convoluted and complicated, and
so it's just kill the man in black or beat him to the Dark Tower and kill all the man in black is the focus. And it's like, okay, if you grossly oversimplified that to a movie, I could understand that. I could get into aspects of that, but this movie adds in what I believe is a completely unnecessary young adult book feel to it.
It kind of does.
They have like a young adolescent who has been dreaming about the gunslinger. This is all just from the trailer, from what I've picked up.
Yeah.
Dreaming about the gunslinger. He goes through a portal, meets the gunslinger. He's like, we're gonna be buddies!
I mean, that's kind of how he is in the book, too. So that part doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that it's a sequel to 8 books. If this is successful, they're gonna make a TV show. But that TV show is gonna be a prequel. But it's gonna be a prequel to the confirmed canon comics that are already a prequel to the series. So this sequel, if it's successful, which we're contributing to, will end up in a spin-off prequel to the prequel.
You have literally just described the dictionary definition of a clusterfuck.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. It's
low expectations on both sides. Let's go watch this thing.
I'm out. Oh, okay.
At least I didn't have to see it alone. So there's that.
He who enjoyed this movie has forgotten the face of his father.
So it wasn't good.
It wasn't good.
It was worse than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I want to say like that I expected nothing and still disappointed. I expected nothing, And I'm just like, I'm just entertained at how bad it was. Like, the whole movie.
It is kind of the pacing is fine enough that if you have some drinks with some friends, you can make fun of it.
Yeah.
But then you can also ignore it for large swaths of a 98-minute movie.
That was a long 98 minutes.
So, semi-spoiler, this is literally how the movie opens.
That's not even a spoiler.
So, I just throw it out there just to be safe. Title card 1. The Dark Tower protects the universe, basically.
Yeah.
Title card 2. The mind of a child can bring the Dark Tower down.
It is said the mind of a child.
Like, as soon as that happened, Nick and I looked over at each other. We're like, "Oh no!" It was almost like a secret password to say to everyone that's like, "Don't worry, don't take this seriously."
It was like the never-ending story, dude. What was the kid's name for the never-ending story?
Sebastian.
Yeah, I just pictured that girl going, Sebastian!
This is the most typical. It's the most typical, like, young adult novel adaptation, but it's from one of Stephen King's, like.
It took like a very dark storyline. Like, it took like a really adult storyline and made the focus of it the kid.
Yeah.
And then tailored it to like a young. It was like a slightly edgier, like, young adult.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say slightly edgier. It's about as edgy.
Yeah, because like
as like the third or fourth Hunger Games movie.
Well, yeah, because I was gonna say, like, the Maze Runner movies, which I actually am kind of a fan of, like, darker than this movie was.
Yeah.
Okay. It's exactly what we thought it was gonna be. Roland has to go. Okay. When your villain's name is Walter, just refer to him as the Man in Black.
And the best part is when they're like, his name is Walter, and half the theater started laughing.
Yeah. So.
I feel like we gotta back it up a bit.
Yeah. So, Roland, played by Idris Elba. Okay, no. That's the story of the books. I gotta back it up more.
I know. It's like,
so this kid's dad died like years ago.
You can't even. You can't even use the books as a frame of reference for the movie because it's such a standalone young adult bastardization of the source. I don't want to be one of those people who's like, excuse me, the source material. But it's so far.
It's the story
from the source material.
Yeah, it's the story of Superman.
Yeah.
Told not even from the perspective of like Jimmy Old. It's the story of Superman told by the perspective of Snapper Carr.
Yeah, it's like
so far removed from the actual players.
Yeah.
And then they throw in this like, oh, here's the reason why he's important. It's like no.
Yeah, I feel like
no. When you take it away from the context of what those books are, you cannot play what they played with.
Exactly. Like, I feel like for the next couple minutes, we can't even talk about the books because it's just so. Yeah. It's just a story that's so far removed, and it feels like a cop out. Like, you know, where they're like, oh well, this movie's a sequel to the books, so we're just gonna have nothing to do. Like, the only thing this has in common with the books is that, like, Roland wants to kill the Man in Black and keep him from destroying the Dark Tower. That's the only thing it has in common, really. The kid's not from the same time period.
Well,
like,
even that motivation for Roland isn't quite the same.
Oh, yeah, the motivation's not even the same. It's like, you know...
He just wants to kill the Man in Black.
Yeah, he just wants... Yeah, I don't even really think he wants to take the Dark Tower down. They have a couple conversations where he just goes, well, the Dark Tower's probably going to fall, but I just want to kill the Man in Black.
Yeah, so, okay,
Actually, he never calls him Man in Black. He just says Walter a lot. He wants to kill Walter.
Okay, that would make sense if his name was, like...
Mephistopheles or something.
Well, no, it would make sense if it was like Poopy Pants. It's like, everybody refer to me. No, Betty. Everybody refer to me as the Man in Black. Hey, Betty! Betty! Betty, I'm coming to kill you! Like, okay, anyway. Getting way up.
Yeah, what the hell?
So, okay, because I really just want to watch Kung Pao.
I want to watch any. I don't need a palate cleanser after that.
Yeah. So, okay. This kid's dad died. He started having visions of Midworld, right? Where all this stuff comes from. Where all the magic, cool crap comes from, basically.
Pretty much.
The kid starts having these visions. Everybody thinks he's insane. He ends up finding out that he's right, and he goes to Midworld. And there he meets up with Roland, and this is like the first 45 minutes of the movie, it feels like. Well,
and then everything there is like the most by the numbers, like...
Yeah. We are here, bad guys here, or... Yeah, bad guys are here, we just gotta get to them.
I feel like everything you think is going to happen... No, everything you think that is going to happen is going to happen.
Literally no surprises.
There's no, you know, the Mist kind of shit where he kills his son at the end and everybody...
Yeah.
There's no twists, there's nothing. It's just a straightforward...
That's what gets me.
Trope-heavy movie.
No matter the adaptation, no matter how good or how bad the adaptation of a Stephen King book is, or story, it's always just that it's got that Stephen King touch, that weirdness, that slightly bit of unexpectedness to it with the story. This had none of that.
You would never in a million years think this had anything to do with a Stephen King novel.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, yeah,
Nothing.
there nothing.
No weird characterization, like...
No good characters. Like, that's something he's really good at.
Like there's, weird is that there's always like some sort of, I don't want to say like off character, but he makes pretty quirky characters.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even in
he makes
something
very
that's
fleshed
not,
out characters.
even in something that's not like some fantasy horror, like The Green Mile has quirky kind of weird characters. This is just like a weird kind of, I don't say the kid was annoying, but he just had his mouth open for like half the movie.
Yeah.
You notice that? He's always like,
yeah,
like literally his jaws dropped most of the movie.
I mean, okay,
pretty much silent protagonist.
What are the characterizations of the protagonist and the antagonist? Protagonist, stoic. Antagonist, evil.
Evil? It's like evil. It's like evil with the question mark, even, because I'm like, you know, he makes some good points about the Dark Tower. He vaguely alludes, like, I feel like one of the only throwbacks to the book was him alluding that, like, this has happened before. Like, he kind of does.
Only if you know that aspect.
Only if you know that. So if you haven't seen the books, he says this one line, and it's in the trailers, the one where he's like, everyone you walk with dies. But, like, the one line after that, or he kind of reiterates that line later in the movie, and I mean, it's not really a spoiler, but just spoiler, just in case, when he's like, you know, did you tell the kid about what happened to your old crew? And you're kind of like, well, if you've just seen the movie, you're like, is he talking old crew, like what
like
happened to all the gunslingers?
Yeah.
Or is he talking old crew, like this has happened before?
Like the last time we did
and like the last time we did that. And that's like the only time they ever really mention it. But even then, I feel like Walter isn't even, like, he's not really a compelling villain, because they just kind of allude to him being...
They never give us enough reason to be like
demon or something. They go with the typical like
sorcerer,
Randall Flagg kind of like this connects my books.
Yeah,
but
what we get from it
the
is
charisma or anything, the interesting characterization, nothing.
We don't get anything from it that's like, okay, the antagonist should not succeed because if he does, horrible Cthulhu-esque creatures will rip through the space-time continuum and just turn everyone mad and eat them. And Roland doesn't even care about the Dark Tower, and because of that, it's like, well, I don't care about Roland. I don't care about anything to do with Roland.
Yeah, Roland
doesn't even do cool gun stuff in this movie.
There are two. I'm gonna say two.
Every cool thing he does are is in the trailers. Every cool thing he does.
Well, because they show you how he reloads like twice, and then from then on they're like, oh, we're just gonna show like
He basically has never.
we're gonna show like very like PG-13 kind of violence,
Yeah.
and we're gonna give him golden guns where he just shoots everybody. No, I'm not saying it has to be like super bloody or anything, but it's a very typical like shoot you in the body and you fly back like 4 feet through a window.
Yeah, it wasn't even cool
through
and
like a porta
stylized.
potty, through a building. Like it's just him shooting people and then falling through things.
And and the way
there's no cool, they do the. I feel like there's multiple scenes where right before, actually, there's totally like I think almost every scene where he's shooting someone, right before he's about to, do the whoa, cool gunslinger mode. They fucking put the slow-mo on for like 45 seconds.
Oh yeah,
every time.
It's a slog.
Like the gunplay isn't cool.
The gunplay isn't cool. None of the actors even seem like they want to be there.
Yeah.
Idris Elba's like, I'm gonna say this in the most gruff British way I know how.
Yeah, kind of.
And then can we get on with this? And then Matthew McConaughey doesn't even seem like he's having fun.
Yeah.
Like, I was expecting, even if it was going to be like an off-the-chain, ridiculous Matthew McConaughey performance, I was expecting that. I was expecting him to be like, Roland, I've got you in my trap.
It was
no,
very
he was just
much
like, I'm going to kill you, Roland. All right.
It was very much like a lot of him, like whispering at people.
Yeah.
Like, hey. Don't fuck up again. Like,
don't fuck up or I'll burn your cheek.
Yeah, like I
Whatever.
think, okay, like the best part of the movie was just like how low effort they made all of his magic, where he just walks up to someone, he's like, hey, die. They just die. Like, it's like, talk about like not wanting to, exhaust your special effects budget, when he just it's they show him like kind of throwing fire around, and you see in that trailer, you see his kind of telekinetic scene.
Yeah. Oh,
and you're like,
it was worse than the movie.
yeah, it was like worse than the movie, but it's like, they
It's not.
they forewent showing all of like him doing that kind of magic, and just substituted 90% of his magic was just walking up to people and like doing some Jessica Jones purple man level shit. Like, he's like Purple Man in everybody in the movie. He's like, stop breathing.
And then
fight each other.
One last thing I wanna touch on, because we could be here all night, but it's not even worth it.
Yeah, it's really not. It was just,
how generic were those henchmen?
how generic was the whole movie?
Okay, yeah, but the henchmen stuck out to me a little bit, because I'm like, okay, you have this. I mean,
they had so much cool stuff to work with.
Yeah, okay. It sets it up very, very soon that the hench people, the basic military or whatever, screw it, their skin is like sloughing off. Never explained, but their skin is like sloughing off.
It's like they're...
And they never do anything cool with it, so then like the regular bad guys just look like crappy ninjas.
Yeah, the regular bad guys are just like...
who only show up for one scene.
No, they show one guy without the skin, and it's like the first scene in the movie. It's right after that title card. And they're like rat people.
Yeah,
they're like rat people, and they wear skin, and the only reason that they wear skin is because like the man in black thinks they're ugly or whatever. He's like, put some skin on.
Yeah.
Put some skin on. Like, he actually says that at the beginning of the movie. He's like, put some skin on,
and
man.
not even with that much effort, he's just like, put some skin on. You're in my house.
Put some skin on.
You're not wearing booties in my house.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
put some shoes on.
So just boring, bad. I mean, okay.
Watch it with some friends and laugh at it, because it's like, it's not so bad that you're like almost like annoyed by it. It's like, it's like, I'm gonna preface this, obviously this movie's bad. I liked Atomic Blonde more.
Yeah.
But Atomic Blonde was almost like kind of more infuriating. It was actually like it was actually like harder to watch.
It was frustrating
because like parts of it were really good, and then the rest of it just like missed the mark. Like, obviously we talked about like the fight was really good, the style was really good, the music was good when they elected to pay more than a couple seconds of it. Yeah. But it made the movie like more. like infuriating to watch because you're just like waiting for like the good parts to come back or like for the good parts to get going. This movie, like, God, you know from the start.
Second title card, I'm checked out.
You're like, there's no way this is gonna be decent at all.
Yeah.
And it's by far not the worst movie I've ever seen.
By far not the worst Stephen King adaptation.
It's not even, like, I'd rather watch this than like Thinner.
Yeah.
Maybe. But
no. I've seen Thinner recently. It's more boring.
But it's in the same. It's almost in the same vein as like Thinner or like, you know, The Mist or something, where you're just like, if you go into the movie and you're just like, you know what, this is gonna be okay at best.
Yeah.
And you can just grab a couple beers.
Yeah.
And just toss back some cold ones with the boys.
Yeah,
then it's not as bad. Like, you could definitely do that with this movie, and you kind of like tune out and then come back and be like, oh look, Roland's, I don't know, doing some dumb shit. It's hard to even explain. Like, I'm trying to figure out what happened during that movie. But I mean, the whole time we were just turning to each other, like, just laughing. And at least we were able to do that during that movie. Because there's definitely movies, there's definitely movies that are harder to watch.
Yeah, sure. Certainly. It's not the worst movie that I've seen this year, but it's pretty. It's just boring and I'm not gonna remember a single thing about it like tomorrow.
It's like just it's a Stephen King book adapted into like the most generic young adult. If you like Divergent or whatever the sequel's, Allegiant or something, or I don't know, is that what it's called? I don't know. Who cares? If you like your kind of generic, by the numbers sort of young adult
middle
stuff,
of the road as middle of the road can be.
Here's the thing with like every kind of young adult adaptation is it always takes place in a world that I'm super interested in. Like, and then they just fucking just butcher all the characters, all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Hunger Games is a cool universe. The idea of like the districts and everybody doing all this cool stuff.
I want to explore the districts.
Divergent, you know, the idea of like people getting separated into castes based on like their aptitude and all that.
I want to see how that society works.
And like, yeah, and like, you know, the Maze Runner, like post. Okay,
well,
here's the thing.
Maze Runner doesn't hold good.
I like the Maze Runner more than those other series.
Yeah.
But like just the Maze Runner, the idea where they're like mentally stress testing these kids to try to figure out a cure to a disease in like a weird plant zombie world. It's like all of those premises are really cool, and now we get to add a Stephen King 20-year-long 8-book 50 comic prequel series onto that list. Just like doesn't feel right. But it's there.
I will be shocked if they get a television series out of this.
Me too. They just need to let it die. One
last thing before we go that I thought was hysterical that I saw earlier today is the number 1919 has a little bit of significance in this, or just the number 19.
Yeah.
A little bit of significance in this movie. And someone pointed that out and then posted a screenshot of its Rotten Tomatoes score right next to it. 19%.
19%.
I was like, oh, perfect.
That is perfect.
Perfect. So, I don't even know what comes out next week.
Me neither.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
Everything I thought was going to come out, I had my movie timelines almost up. Like, I thought Valerian came out in like the middle of August.
Oh, yeah, okay, so it'll be a surprise for you and a surprise for us. So thanks for sticking around. Please like and subscribe this video, or like the video, subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/glassfilmshouse, facebook.com/glasshousefilms, Twitter @glasshousefilms. Thanks y'all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.